We are so glad to be back. We're so glad to be talking about gaming again. The grind kind of took over for all of us for a little bit. We apologize for our absence. We appreciate y'all's patience, but we are back and we got plenty to talk about. The biggest problem we got is two of us are really fond of a new game, and one of us isn't really bought in yet, but we'll definitely touch in on that. We got the Crimson Desert Divide, which might be the game I'm talking about. We got marathon numbers and impressions, a little bit of AI to put a bow on this thing that's been running around the industry lately. But before we get into any of that, before we really get to the meat of the show, boys, how you been, Nick, my brother? How's everything been this past 2 weeks?
It's been really good, man. We had a lot of stuff going on, so we took a little hiatus from the podcast, but we're back. We're ready to talk some gaming. It did give us some time as well, intermittently, to get some game time under our belts on a couple different fronts. Get a little bit more play time with some of these topics we're going to start talking about today. But a lot of good family stuff going on these last couple weeks. A good reset, ready to get back into it, and I'm pumped for this episode.
That's awesome. Dave, how you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good, but yeah, as our philosophy with the show goes, sometimes the games take a back seat, and that's been the case for me lately. Just been busy with the family and everything. Me and the wife had a nice little date night last night during the week. We just took the opportunity. We had a friend come over, watch the Twins. We went out for a little Mexican food, sat at the bar, and and you get in this grind of life with kids, you kind of forget that there's places you can go that there's just adults there, and it's very relaxing. And so I haven't got a ton of time on these games, but been really hitting hard a lot of the other categories of life that are important to us. The family, the fitness, the finances. They're grinding, trying to just give my future self more time to play games. I think is the goal. But no, I did have one. I had one fitness related question slash topic for you guys before we get started into the gaming. But a quick backstory: my wife started taking this supplement called Primal Queen, and it's obviously our show is no affiliation with this product or whatever, but it's a beef organ supplement, focused towards women, and it has, of course, the regular things like beef liver and beef heart, but then it specifically has like I believe like parts of beef uterus as well, and fallopian tubes, like specifically supposed to help women. And she's seen a pretty I think she's on a couple months in right now, and she's seen a significant improvement with like just her energy levels, especially first thing in the morning. And just like her hormone levels and everything feels balanced. And I know you two guys, a couple gym, I guess, you guys would classify as meatheads, even though you also classify as nerds, as people see with these games. So, but I figured you guys probably have some knowledge when it comes to these. I'm in the market now that she's been taking this. I want to find a good product that's specifically towards men. And see if I can boost a couple testosterone levels or something. What do you guys got for me? Have you ever experimented with beef organ supplements or anything like that?
Yeah, both of us
Actually, we
have.
have. Yeah. We through Heart and Soil, again, no affiliation, but they have one that, Dave, if you're looking for that. And I like it too. And some people may say it's like placebo, but I also felt like a different effect when I was taking it.
Mhm.
Um if I go like my full supplement line, obviously it's multivitamin, creatine. But if we're, just before we get to the too nitty gritty of all that, but yeah, for that beef
Yeah.
supplement, they have the stuff called whole package, which is like the similar. It's all for male fertility, male, like it's all geared towards male. But yeah, if you check out the website Heart and Soil, and there's other ones like it. Like I think if she got that Primal Queen, I've been seeing that a lot on Instagram lately where they pop up. It's like the
Yeah.
Viking supplements, I believe.
They've
But
they've definitely hit the social, like they even have a thing on the back where it's like tag us on Instagram, to win a lifetime supply of this. It seems like a very young company, social media heavy. But yeah, that's the thing, the placebo, it's always that kind of thought, like, but yeah, maybe something, an idea for a future episode. I know we're about to get into some of these games, but I'm gonna check out that one. What was the name of it again? The
Heart and Soil. I'll shoot you a text after
Heart and
this too,
Soil.
dude, so I can send it over
Yeah,
to you because
I'm gonna check it out because yeah, like maybe in the future we could talk. We're three guys with a lot of years, different types of fitness, whether through the military or just traditional kind of bodybuilding or just running. Everything we've done a little bit of everything, and then also balancing that with the family and the games. I would be curious if we came up with like our own little supplement stack, and then maybe other people in the comments could let us know what's been working for them as like busy dads. Because you mentioned creatine, that's been a huge thing for me, especially not just for the gym, for the gym benefits, but the sleep deprivation that it's gotten a lot better as the twins have gotten older, but that would be fun stuff for us to get into. I don't want to eat up too much time. I just wanted to know, what your guys' experience was because my wife she's been, and I've even noticed it too. That she's moving faster than me in the morning sometimes, where I'm just like, oh shit, I gotta get it together. Um, but no, it's interesting stuff, and I always want to keep improving. If there's something that's not crazy expensive that we can add to our stack, I think listeners will be interested as well.
no, I agree with you. We've kind of alluded to this. I eventually want to get to the point where maybe we do like I don't know, like maybe another weekly thing where we kind of talk more about the grind of life, not just fully in the gaming. Because as the listeners know, we get into the gaming, it goes 2 hours, and we have to kind of
Yeah,
put the brakes on ourselves. But no, I agree
yeah,
with you a lot, man. I think that's another thing people do look forward to. A little like like we watch a lot of other content, we digest it all. Like I love when like on the Last Stand Media, Defining Duke, when they do like that health as well segment. Like talking about those things is important because
Yeah.
gaming is awesome, don't get me wrong, but it's also that balance of like get outside, go for a run, go for a walk, you know what I mean? And then also I'm a huge believer in supplements. You can ask Nick, like make sure you're always the multivitamin, vitamin D, magnesium, like that stuff is so important, in
yeah.
my opinion. My wife, she she jokes around with me. She's like, I don't believe in vitamins, like playing around, but she's also taking magnesium and vitamin D. So but yeah, stuff is very important. I would love to, yeah, all of us to go with like, kind of talk like a good like, what our gym session was that day and throw in the sauna and how important that stuff is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's great. But before we continue, and I kind of get what I've been up to lately before we jump into the show. Nick, are you sure that we're live right now?
Yeah, I'm watching it.
It's showing up? Okay. I was
Yeah.
wondering because it wasn't showing up there. My bad, everyone. A little behind baseball. Uh um Cool. If it's live, then we're live. Awesome. I just won't. It didn't show up on my phone or give me a notification that it was happening, so that's why I was curious.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't say
But
anything either, but the show goes on.
we believe you, Nick,
I'll
even though
double
you're the
check a
only one
secondary
who seems
source,
to
but
see it.
continue, sir.
Okay. So what I've been up to lately, but yeah, dude, I love that idea, and I think we should, as our audience continues to grow, and we have kind of more of what's the word I'm looking for? Flexibility and time to be able to do that. I would love to add a little bit extra to that stuff, even if it's a little supplement or extra, no pun intended, to our show. But yeah, for me, like as everyone knows, anyone that might have joined us from Nick and Dave Save the World back when we all kind of where this podcast kind of was born in a way, right? I work in venue management and the security side of that stuff, and we had one of our massive events this weekend. The boys were very patient with me. I tried to make it work, but it was just one thing after another. Huge event, but you know, super successful. My team, all the teams, we all executed wonderfully. Everyone had a wonderful time, and here we are on the other side of it. But also made some time for the wife. She's I'm very, very blessed to have her. She made her Nick's had them too. Her famous green chicken enchiladas is like the celebratory
Ooh,
meal after GalaxyCon, dude, and the best cheap meal in the world after all that hard work. So it was awesome.
that sounds
But
good.
Nick, have you checked your secondary source before we go too far?
Yeah, keep going. It was My bad. It was listed as private, unfortunately, but it's still everything is up. So people are just going to be coming in at this point if they join in, but the whole video's up.
I see that we're live now.
Yep.
Everyone, we apologize. But hey, when this gets posted, it'll be from the beginning to the end. So,
Yep.
but hey, we're still learning. We're new. We're trying. We got the best producer in the world with Chip Crispy. So don't ever get it twisted. But boys, during our absence, a couple big things in the gaming world happened. Games we were personally playing and all the controversy behind both of them. First, Crimson Desert released. We're going to jump into that first, but also Marathon continued to go with and Cryo Archive. I keep messing up that word. It's so silly. It's an easy thing to say. But the raid released. These two don't know how to level up, so they haven't been able to do it with me. But I've done it a couple times with some randos, and I have paid the price dearly. But I'm going to get these boys up to snuff for this weekend, and we're going to hit it. So they got something to tell us next weekend about it. But we'll all jump in, talk about multiple things. And like I said in the top of the show, we'll top it off with AI. But without further ado, boys, I think it's time we talk a little Crimson Desert. This has been the talk of the industry from the good, the bad. But before we jump into how we're, get really into the nitty gritty, I just want to hit some high level thoughts if you guys don't mind. And Nick, I want to start with you. You have definitely put the most time in between the three of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you, off the record, have told me you're really enjoying this game. So, kind of like I said, just give us a nice little minute of how you're feeling about this game, high level thoughts.
Yeah, so I've been playing a good bit. I think I'm into Act 5 right now. And it's fun. I enjoy it. So for me, it's as massive, if not, I think it's bigger than Valhalla. And we've talked a little bit about how that kind of puts me off to some games, but there's something about, I guess, there were some downfalls with Valhalla as well that kind of crushed it, I'd say. And one of them being the the legendary equipment and things that you could get in the stores and different things like that, and the pre-order bonuses kind of being some of the best gear, so then you don't have a motivation to go get gear, and then you're kind of just swamped with all these different tasks. What I really like about Crimson Desert, and I think that there could be an improvement probably in the story for people that want a little bit more of what's going on, but if you just are in it for the gameplay, the exploration, the combat, for me, it just hits home. Like, I love getting from point A to point B in this game, and it's very rare that I follow the same path. Like in Valhalla, it's you get on a boat, you get to the shore, and you go run up to the quest. Right? It was so repetitive. Like for this, I can go do an abyss mission and unlock a puzzle, and then I can jump down and fly to the area. On the way to the area, I might see a giant cave, or I might see a vendor, or whatever the case, and I'll go get entrenched in it for a little bit. But then you can, pull a tree back and slingshot your way across the map a little bit, or you can. Once you start unlocking a lot more of the traveling, it just makes it fun. You can call the horse if you want to go that route. Um, I love getting into the fights. It's fun. I think we'll get more into into the nitty gritty with it as we start talking. But yeah, I'm enjoying it, man. Like the NPCs, like, definitely kind of just give you like a baseline of what's going on. Like, you're not gonna go and talk to an NPC and like hear their backstory or get a cinematic a lot of the times, but you know what you're supposed to do next. And for me, in this game, it's good enough for all the other things it gives me. Like it's I understand what's going on, and I get what I should be doing in the game. And for at the baseline, it's good enough for me, especially in such a big game. It's kind of a shell shocker, and you said it too. But coming from RE9, which was such a well crafted story, to something that is a very base level story, is difficult. But I think if they went really deep with this story as well, with as big as it is, you would just be swamped with player interactions as well. So I think that might be a reason they didn't go too deep into the story.
I'll hold my thoughts before
Yeah,
I
hold your
kind of
thoughts because
touch
we
into
could
what
get
I think
sidetracked
about that.
immediately. That's why I'm trying to be tamed.
Yeah, you were. I mean, I appreciate it, and I got a lot I want to peel back on that. But like you said, we'll wait. But before we keep going, Dave, I know you probably. I would assume just because with everything we've gone on, you probably had the least amount of time with it. So far,
Yeah.
what are your feelings with what you've played so far?
Yeah, I really just got through the beginning. There was one, I think I think it was on Saturday. We put the girls down for a nap, and I fired it up on. I wanted to play on the living room TV. I felt like this is a game to sit back on the couch, have a big screen, really look at the world. Um, and I was excited jumping in. I know Nick touched on the story. Um, I don't know how in the depths we want to dive with it. But it was just like right at the beginning. Um, they had that feature to fast forward, and I was like, whoever put this in the game, it like
Genius.
yeah, it's incredible because I quickly didn't care, but you still in other games if you just skip it, there's part of you that wonders like, maybe maybe I should kind of know what's happening. So this is nice where I can just hold that button, kind of be talking to the wife or whatever, see the thing fast forward on the TV, and I thought that was a cool feature because like you touched on, Nick, like with such a big game, already knowing ahead of time, it's like this could be easily like 100 hours of your life, and then if there's going to be continually just cutscenes or like interactions with the characters, that would slow the game down. So it's like they never advertise this as being like a Fable type where you're gonna go get married to everybody in the town and stuff like that. Like from everything we saw, it was like, oh, you're gonna go ride a dragon, you're gonna go, explore this huge world. So it seems like that's what they delivered on. And I haven't got out there in that open world too much yet, but just taking the horse, that's the only transportation I have so far. It 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 felt easy enough, get around. It did feel, kind of Assassin's Creed style of just you're just plowing through like people's farms and stuff. Like you're not even like worried about ramming into people and stuff like that. Like the NPCs, you just knock them over and keep moving. Like it, I think some points you can get like you get that wanted level, but yeah, it was just cool things like figuring out like I started off like sneaking into people's houses and I realized you couldn't steal anything. And I was like, what's going on? Maybe I have to like unlock the skill or something. And then like 2 minutes later, I find a mask. And then you read it. It's like you have to put on the mask to commit a crime. And I'm like, oh, okay. So then I remember what Nick was telling me, where it's like, just play the main story. Like, don't try to go, because that's what immediately I go to start exploring somebody's house. And I couldn't like I had to progress the game a little more to get the mask. So I was like, okay, like let's start doing these main missions and stuff like that. But I don't know. I was thinking back like the intro of other games where you kind of get your wits about you and things like that. And I'd be curious to hear what your guys' thoughts, because I know some games do that. They throw you right into it. The battle, like Crimson Desert did, you're fighting for your life, and um, other games, you think back to like Ocarina of Time. You're exploring little village. You pick up a chicken, like you're learning the tutorial of the game through like the basics. So to me, it just felt weird. Like you go from this battle, you're this, you know, you're already like this hardened warrior, apparently, but then you're thrown into like these basics like arm wrestling and getting a kid's cat off the roof, and like stuff like that didn't really fit for me. um you know, but I don't know. I don't know. I got to play more of the game. I feel like I'm 50-50. It's like, do I want to put that many hours in? We talk about, there's a lot going on. I know we're going to get a marathon later. We have limited time to play games. It's like, do I want to hop on and go into the raid with you guys, or do I want to hop on, play like 2 or 3 hours of Crimson Desert and feel like I barely made a dent? If it's going to be the long-term game of the year, like I just play it throughout the year, that's perfect. But I don't know if it's something if you're playing maybe once or twice a week, you pick it up for a couple hours, are you going to remember, what you were doing, all, everything that's going on in such a big world? Like maybe this isn't the best game for a busy dad that's like this would be a great game if I was, you know, about to be on summer break in high school. I just fucking play all the time, but I don't know. I don't know if this one's gonna pull me in. Like I'm questioning, like, should I have bought it? There's other games pulling our attention. We know there's a Witcher DLC coming or supposedly coming, and then GTA 6. Like I've been tempted to jump back into GTA 5 and spend 100 hours playing that, building up to like I don't know. I don't know if Crimson Desert's gonna pull me. I want to hear more of what you guys got to experience, and that'll kind of tell me like, all right, am I gonna go? Because that's where it's at with a game like this. It's like, are you gonna go 20 hours and then be like, I'm done? Because if you go that far in, it feels like you might as well complete, or you want to try. I don't know. Chris, what do you think? What, what how did you like it?
I'm not a fan. I gotta say, I wanted to like Crimson Desert. I really did. I even chose it as one of my draft picks. I thought it'd be my sleeper hit. But for me, and it boils down to this, it just does. And I know they're working on this. I think maybe the patch already happened, but it doesn't feel good to play for me. Not only that, it's like you have this opening of the story, the intro we're talking about. What a horrible intro. And like we're gonna go through it all bits and bits, and I'll talk on why I think that, because it's like, and there's two things you both kind of touched on in your opening statements. It's funny that we play it like this, opening statements, but it's the fact that what I disagree with you guys on a completely fundamental level is I totally understand where you're coming from about the story, but I feel like that's a justification in the wrong direction. Just because your game is long does not give you the right to give me a crappy story. It doesn't give me the right to have hollow characters. Just because you decide to make this 100-hour massive game, make me want to be in this world and exist in this world. And for that, that's a story. I think about Expedition 33's intro and how it immediately hooks you into this crazy world where it's like French, but it's like apocalyptic and people are disappearing and turning into rose petals. And in this one, this guy gets stabbed 30 times in the chest, gets his throat slit, wakes up on a riverbank like, all right, how we doing? And it's
He's
like,
like
we're not going to
arm
acknowledge
wrestling.
what just happened. We're not going to acknowledge that. Okay,
Yeah, I was
cool.
really confused at that part.
It's just like, I mean, just to acknowledge, oh man, that hurt. Let me go look for my boys. But like, and it's like, there are things I do like about it. We can kind of jump in right now. Like that, my high level thing is I'm not feeling it right now. And to your point, Dave, where you said you put 20 hours in and drop it, I've put about 5 hours in, and I know everyone says give it about 8 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm just, and I do believe some games are time and place. Sometimes you're in the mood for something like that. Sometimes you're not. And that could be a huge factor when you're playing big games like these. Um, Going back, and Nick, I love that you brought up Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Assassin's Creed Valhalla at the time made me stop gaming for like 6 months. At some point, I was just like, dude, I don't know what it was about that game, but it took me a while. And the game that brought me back to gaming was Hades. And then I fell
Mhm.
back in love with this hobby I've loved since I was a kid. But that's a tale for another time. When it comes to Crimson Desert, and we could start pulling at the string and really get into it, because I know we all have a lot of things about, but I think let's start there. Let's start with how we feel about that intro. You guys kind of heard my thoughts on it. I think it's cool. You kind of get right into the scrapping. You got kind of quick introduction to the other character, the orc character, and he kind of runs off, and then you're in like machine heaven, and then you show back up on the thing. I mean, this isn't really spoilers, guys. It's like the initial part of the game, but and then you kind of run into like a hobo Jesus kind of guy, and he's like, "Hey, you did a good deed. Now you're gonna be the ultimate hero." And it's like, and then you go untie a lady, and she's like, "Your kindness is unmatched." It's like, pretty sure anyone would find this poor lady tied to the cellar and untie her. But anyways, it's a very like. I just couldn't get behind it. And sometimes I can just turn off my brain when it comes to story and just play the game. And that's where I really want to start with this conversation, is the feel is what got me. It's like, okay, I can deal with not having a great story, but everything just felt so clunky to me. Like, I'm trying to do, once you get your grapple arm, and I kept pulling out my bow, and I'm like, okay. And then you're like trying to like, okay, this we just taught you how to charge up your spirit. And so the next puzzle, games 101, you should do your next puzzle should be related to you charging up your spirit. No, it's the force palm you learned like like 2 puzzles ago. It's just that kind of stuff. It's like the game doesn't handhold you, but it does at the same time. It like picks and chooses when it's going to handhold you and when it's not going to handhold you. And it's like the onboarding of the game should have just, if you're going to do a tutorial and intro, just like, bake in at least all the basics and all the little things you need to know, and then let me learn the rest of it. I'm not asking like, teach me every single combo, teach me how to do these things. That's the stuff you need to learn on your own. But like, fundamental stuff should just be there and ready to go. And it's like, and then before we keep going, we'll stick in the feel, but like, I do think the combat is fun, but I already feel like the combat's repetitive. Once you kind of get the best moves, you kind of, not the best moves, but you kind of learn the best combos, and you're still basically doing the same thing you're doing as if you were playing an Assassin's Creed in a sense. I mean, it's a lot more intuitive, I feel like, because it's not like draw your sword, wait, parry, you know what I mean? It's more of like go diving in the action, you can go unarmed, anything you want to go to. I can appreciate that about the game, but just the movement, looking around, everything, just for me, it just feels very clunky, and it's something I'm just not really vibing with, and something I'm not enjoying. And I see Nick ready to chomp at the bit, so kind of let's start there, Nick, because I know there's a lot we want to pull at. So let's start with the intro and the feel intro and feel of the game.
Before that, so I know me and Nick both played on Xbox Series X. Were you on your PS5 or did you go PC version?
PS5, the superior console.
All right, so let's start with the intro. Was the intro the greatest cinematic and explanation of what was going on? No, it was not good. I'll get behind that. I'd agree. It could have been a lot better, right? They did not address what was going on. They don't really say what the abyss is, right? You just kind of end up there. Do I think that more of this is going to come out in the wash as you go through the story? Yes, because already some things that I've done to where you're starting to get a little bit more intel of what's going on. So it's more of a, and I don't want to compare it to like Skyrim or Oblivion because those had really good intros, but like you really didn't know what the hell was going on right off the bat either in any of those games until you progressed a little bit more and you're like, okay, I kind of see.
I don't want to cut you off, but can I pull at that real quick? But the end, like, you don't know what's going on in Expedition 33. You don't know what's going on in Skyrim, but they're good intros. You know what I mean? And I feel like Crimson Desert's intro is good up to the point of him not acknowledging getting his throat slit and thrown into a river. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, he's like died and was reborn. It's like, at least if he would have just made one simple sentence, I feel like it would have been.
You're too used to Leon Kennedy, Stan. You're too used to a one-liner after that.
Well, not even a one-liner. Like,
that point,
who's he going to talk to?
if I woke up on a shore after I
Well,
died,
that's
and I'm just,
What the fuck was
I'd be
that?
like, oh, what just happened?
well, that's the thing. Like, and Nick, maybe it changes as you get further, but he's like a basically he could be a nameless, faceless character. Like, and I saw some of that dialogue online where people were like, "Why can't you customize? Why couldn't you just have been your own character?" And at that point, like if this character has no um depth to it,
Substance.
like he doesn't talk much, and even right at the beginning, it's like there's a fallen soldier, and he's saying something about like you were the closest one to him, or something like that, and he just goes and kneels by the grave, and he's like, "You will be missed," and walks away.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what you guys better say if I die before you. That's all I need you to say at my funeral.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to defend the intro. I'm really not. You guys are right. You've made good points. It's not there could have been a lot more to get initial hooks in you. I will say that.
But Nick, real quick, and I think Dave, you made a great point about the character creator.
I did, yes. You could have just made a character.
Well, no, I think that would justify a little bit how I'm feeling, and now I'm thinking about it talking with you. I think that's the left. Well, I think it's the leftover of this game initially being an MMORPG, because that is your typical MMO opening, right? Like,
well, that
crazy stuff happens, you don't really react, and all right, let's go do a bunch of missions. You know what I mean? Like,
it might lean into. There's also 2 other playable characters, and I haven't played them yet, so maybe they keep it kind of subsurface. But I mean,
you've got one though, right? You've got the one.
Yeah, okay. She just like shows up at camp, so it's like there's not a big backstory with her either. So I don't know if it's just like this is this game's way of like you could play as any one of these characters type deal and go through it.
I don't
know.
And then that's the thing. Sorry, or go ahead, Chris.
No, I was just gonna say to that character, I read the codex. She does have a little bit of a backstory, but to your point, Nick, I feel like if it's gonna be a playable character, I feel like that give them some story a little bit.
Yeah,
you don't have to give me everything, but kind of give me a reason. And they alluded to it a little bit, but like she's like not a. I don't want to like that's kind of spoilerish, but it's like give me a reason why you're here with me. And then explain to me when I immediately switched to you why was Cliff like 3 miles down the road. I was like, it was like I accidentally switched to her just to see. And then homie's all the way down the mountain. I'm like, dude, I just got up here.
Yeah.
But
so
sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting off, man. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I think we all agree that the intro and all that was not the best. I don't think the story is the best. And I've said that. I think that they could have gone leagues better in how they went about it. I think the character creations would have been a great idea, because then you would have just been like, okay, this makes sense, right? You're kind of just a baseline character. Now, for the clunkiness and the controls, I have not had that issue on my end. And I've seen a lot of conversations about it. There's games I've played that the controllers are much more difficult, and I enjoy them. And I think when Dave posted the short too about it, some of the commenters made good points. Like, look at like a fighting game, the amount of combos you have to remember. That's why I never really got into fighting games, because every 5 seconds I have to pull up a combo screen, and it's like Y, B, B, down, left, right, and then I hit a move. Or you look at God of War. God of War kind of ran a similar fashion. It was definitely more polished than this, but it was a whole lot of hit this trigger, then you hit the attack, and then you could do this move. And you don't have to do all those things. And if you don't want to do all those things, then yes, you can go down the line of like just hitting the whirlwind slash, which it is a great move. But I'm in Act 5. I think when you look at my level, I was like 30 or something like that. I don't know. I have a lot of artifacts, maybe 30 to 40, and I'm still unlocking new moves. So it's like now I can do the stab and do a faster slash, or I can double jump and do a body slam, or I can use the axiom grasp and sling someone to me like a scorpion hook, or you can invest in the bow and do different attacks with the bow. Or now I have a secondary that's a two-hander. I can hit a different combo and swap to my two-hander. Then I have like a whole different play style instead of sword and shield. And if you use a spear, it could be different as well. Bunch of different weapons. And
Yeah, that felt very Assassin's, because even at the beginning I had a few different weapons to choose from, and that it really pulled me back to like a Valhalla or something where it's like you can kind of be however you want. Like if you want to be the heavy two-handed guy, or be the stealth with a bow. I do like that freedom.
yeah, and I like that in this game too. And it's not as prevalent initially, but your armor really impacts your mobility as well. Whereas like Assassin's Creed, I don't think had that. Maybe it did, I don't remember. But like if you want to go heavy attack speed and real light armor, you could do that with like a one-hander, or you can go full tank, and or you could go full ranger. I've seen people playing ranger and it's nasty, and I haven't really delved into that too much. Or when you go up on someone, how do you plan the attack? Are you going to hit a fire barrel? Are you going to pick something up? You can you can even pick up a tree and slam it down on a group of people, right? It's like you can do so much to the environment that I think it keeps the combat and like I said, the exploration really, really interesting. Um, Apart from the story, like I said, if the story was great for me, it would be a really, really high score. I think it's fair where it is right now because the story just is fairly trash, I would say.
Yeah, it's just like it reminds me like of like a no, because there's like if you get into some MMO story is actually pretty good, but kind of has like the MMO story kind of build to it where it's all kind of clunky, and it's like I want to touch on. I do what I do like about the combat. I love that you learn moves as they happen. Sometimes, like some dude ran out of nowhere, drop kicked me, and I learned how to drop kick.
Right.
That's really cool stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't mind the depth of the combat. Let me be clear there because I said that at the top of my thoughts. I really do enjoy that there are combos and you can tie moves in together. And I'm glad you brought up the Axiom thing where you can. I love the slam with the tree and stuff. But for me, and again, like I know there's been a patch lately, so I haven't jumped in maybe in like a day or two. So maybe that's been fixed. But the combat just the depth shouldn't feel as clunky as it feels to me is what I'm saying. Like even when like sprinting, I always find myself hitting like not hitting X. And I know that's a very Grand Theft Auto Red Dead Redemption thing to sprint with X, but we're
Mm.
so used to it being the analog stick. And it's not a big deal. Don't get me wrong, but I just feel like yeah, you can have all this depth, but it just I don't know. Sometimes it just does not feel like it ties well together, or like the dodge roll doesn't work as it does after you've unlocked it sometimes. And again, it's not like deal breakers. I don't want to sound like I absolutely despise this game. I don't, and I agree with you. I think where it's rated is relatively fair. I don't think, you know what I mean? Now, someone just absolutely despising it, I can't see that just because this game hasn't clicked with me. The fact I can definitely see like the cool, and as I play it, and I do agree, the more you play it, the better it does feel. But I'm no stranger to build crafting and getting stronger as you play and unlocking cooler skills and becoming like just this
Mhm.
monster of a human. I mean, that's ARPG 101 right there.
Yeah,
But
I want to get on the
I
dragon.
that's sick. Yeah, I want to get on the dragon. I want to get on the mech. So I don't feel myself completely stepping away. I think I still want to push a little bit harder on this. Like I always told you that Dragonkin games kind of got my attention. So I might go back to my dirty ARPG ways. Iosymmetric, that's how I am. But
I had a couple more things too after you
I don't
finish.
know. And I want you to. I'm going to throw it right back to you. Don't worry. I want you to kind of play off this if you don't mind as you continue. I really feel like great games hook you quick, and it doesn't. You don't need like this 10 to 15 hours. Like, hey, just hang in there. Like,
Yeah.
and I want a game to grow and make you stronger, but like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm off base here, guys. But
But
Nick, back to you though.
let's say that, yeah, and I agree with you. But let's look at Valhalla again. Let's bring it back to that. That had a great intro, a
Mhm.
pretty badass one, and it had every character. It was super in depth. The character you played was super in depth.
Yeah.
and it got old because yes, it hooked you in and you
Well,
wanted to
it's
keep playing, but then it was just like
Ubisoft.
you just keep getting swamped with like a battle scene you go and see, or this cut scene of this fight, or you go talk to the governor of Athens and he walks you around in a bathrobe for 10 minutes and you're just like, all right, dude, like I want to play the game. You know
Oh,
what I
I
mean?
skipped to
And it's such a massive game. So it's like, for me, this is like Dave was saying, I skipped the cutscene, dude. I'll play for 2 hours, and guess what? I can put it down for a week, pick it back up. I still gotta go find the boys. That's all I'm worried about. You know what I mean? I'm not what was that conversation with the governor? What do I need to go do now? You know what I mean? It's like it's nice for me for that because it's like I just did something in it and I can go back and pick it up and just like, all right, go to the next mission or go check out that building I see in the distance. You know what I mean? It's not like I think it's gridlocked progression in terms of exploration until chapter 5, but like for Valhalla it felt like you kind of had to go to the next areas because you couldn't progress to the other areas. So it was open world but kind of like strategically locked to you in a way. Where this is like, yeah, you can go do whatever the hell you want. If you go and do the main mission, you can definitely get more abilities and can go further and climb bigger mountains and, fly further and all those things to kind of make it easier. But, that's, I think it kind of fits what it's supposed to be doing in this for me, to where it's just, you could pick it up, you can fuck around, you could throw a tree at somebody, you could get a jetpack at some point. I haven't unlocked it, but I've seen this. You could ride a dragon, you can go, tame the bear, get the bear, ride a bear. It sounds like there's a mountain lion too in it now. You can go get a pet if you want. So it's like you could go do these things, but you're
yeah,
not like stuck in this
it's a big
linear
sandbox.
story.
Yeah, and I think I think you're right. I think you're right in a lot of what you just said, because what I think my problem was, and I think, as gamers, we've probably all been guilty of this at some point. I believe I might have overhyped what I thought this game was going to be. I really like, I saw all these things and I'm like, this is going to be like, it's going to be this sleeper that people kind of know about. Everyone's kind of talking about it, but it's going to come out and it's going to, it's going to be what Cyberpunk said it was going to be when we were talking about it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, before everything happened, we know how that whole story went. Eventually, they fixed everything, and now it's an amazing game, and everyone loves it. But I think I do, and I think we all kind of see the issues that are baked into this game, and I know they're working on them and working to fix them. But it does boil down that, like, when I said this, and, Dave, and after what you said, maybe I'm just not in the right mindset for this type of game. I think maybe I'm still in that honeymoon phase of Resident Evil Requiem, coming off a very story rich game and very linear, tight experience that 9.5 hours, you get this great story and action hero one liners. And then I'm kind of getting my fill of turn your brain off action with Marathon. So I'm kind of getting both of those itches scratched. And it's like, this game kind of seems like it's not Marathon. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say it is, but if it kind of follows that same path, a little less sweaty, a little less heart racing, but turn your brain off and just explore this world. And like, and then, like, maybe it is like, to counter what you said, Dave, maybe it is the perfect dad game. Like, you don't need to remember the story. You're exhausted. You got 2 hours to game, and you just gonna hop in here. And maybe you finish a mission or two. You slowly chip away at this experience. I can see that too. And to your point, if this game would have came out and I was in high school,
Yeah.
it'd been hard pressed for me to feel what grass felt like that summer, because I know I would have been addicted to this thing.
And it's a
But
great baby nap time game because, like, playing
Yeah, I guess
Marathon
that
when the
is a good
kids
point.
nap's tough. You go to Xville or you just drop in, you got all your best shit, and the kids wake up. Oh, all right. Well, there goes all my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could just pause this and you cut off the TV.
You're gonna
and then
lose all your
pick it up.
shit anyway.
Yeah, you're not paying attention. You're too busy trying to get the goop, and you get sniped.
Yeah, but you know, like a lot
I
of
get
the,
totally what you're saying, though. You can pause
that is-
this
that's a
game.
great
You can pause
point.
Crimson Desert, step away for an hour, and you go back and you're good. Yeah, you do that in Marathon. Yeah, you're just a corpse, and
you got to
people
be
are
locked
laughing at
in.
you. Yeah, and it is. And again, like I don't have, you guys both have kids, so I totally understand. Like coming at it from that dad perspective is totally different than mine, right? Like if I go to play Marathon, I don't have to worry about like the kids waking up or anything like that. I might have to worry
Right.
about work calling or something like that. That's happened, and I've lost all my stuff. But and I get it. Trust me. I had this line that I've been working on when you were gonna come at me with this, and it was like, if I have to convince myself I like a game, that's not a good sign, right? And I shared that with you before, and it's like, as I continue to think about Crimson Desert, and that should be a good sign that I do think about, even though I haven't been playing it. It's like, why don't I like it as much as I want to? And that's the question I've been dealing with myself. And I think it's the lack of a good story, because like I do enjoy all the gameplay and everything like that. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like I don't enjoy it enough. Back to Dave's point, to spend 100 hours doing all that stuff if there's nothing except like the exploration of the world. And because I love Skyrim, but I really like being the Dovahkiin and being the last, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, you're doing all these little minuscule things on the side, but this grand story of you having to take out Alduin, the World Eater, and is in the background, you know what I mean? And you're fighting all his kin and all this stuff and learning the shouts and everything. But this one, it's like this daunting idea of this 100-hour experience of a story I'm not going to enjoy. And I just get a couple cool swords and stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'm just not at this moment, and I'm a little bit overcritical because I'm not in the mood for something like this. But I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I'm gonna do one more. I want Dave to hop in too. So two things with it. One, do you think the hype factor of how hyped this game was? Let's say let's say it was, I picked it up and I said, "Oh, this game's pretty cool," and you gave it a try and you went into it blind, and we weren't watching all these crazy cinematics and hearing all these people talk about it, to where I was thinking the same thing. I was let down by the story initially because I've heard all these things about it. So you want everything about it to be good. I don't know. Maybe would that have swayed some people? Maybe not, from what it sounds like, what you didn't like about it. But the other thing I will say is, what I think this game catches a lot of flack on and is not fair is, it is an open world game, just as Skyrim is. When you get out of Helgen, if you decide to go run up the damn mountain and go do the mission with the Way of the Voice, you're not going to be able to do it. Right? You can go there, you can go and do that, but you have to at some point entrench yourself back into the story to advance the game. Same thing with Oblivion. If you never deliver the Amulet of Kings, you would never even open an Oblivion gate. So you know what I mean? It's kind of like, I think a lot of people are wanting to just like go do whatever in this game immediately, but all open world games follow the aspect of you at least have to
Gotta build
progress through the main story, to unlock what the whole world has to offer. This one is definitely way more open in what you can do. And I think that just a lot of people are trying to do everything in it without, you got to establish the camp. You got to go through the couple things. And those things are fun mechanics, and they expand even more once you unlock more things with them of what you can do and upgrades and world building. And it's, some people may not like it, but Fallout follows the same thing. Skyrim follows the same thing. Ultimately, you got to go through the main story. And if the main story was great, it would make it 10 times better. But I
That was
will
gonna be my
say,
point. Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say the story does it makes enough sense to where it's like I think it will progress into something a little bit more. I think it will become more apparent. Like you definitely have a main enemy to fight. You identified that in the beginning, the bears. And so I think that, it's going to be set up for some really cool fights and, you know, stuff like that. But I think just any open world that you try to go off the beaten path too much without getting your character built up enough is going to leave a sour taste in people's mouth.
No, I see where you're coming from with that. I just also feel like I'll answer your first part of your question. If I didn't have all the hype built up, just kind of like like I just talked about that Dragon Kid game. If I just came across this, I would still think I would have the same problems, but I think they probably wouldn't be as amplified in all fairness. Because as the honeymoon phase is very real, so is like this disappointment of not getting what you thought you would.
Mhm.
And that's how I felt. I just felt like everything was just overdone. And to like Skyrim's point, I feel like it's not really a fair comparison because boiled down, Skyrim's a very simple game, right? And it's very simple combat and everything like that. Like, yeah, you get strong and stuff, but it's not nowhere near as complex as Crimson Desert is. And I don't mean it as a bash on either game. You know what I mean? I think it's just
Mhm.
two totally different experiences. Um, but no, I mean, I agree. Like, you should engage with the story, but like, if the story is so like they knew this wasn't an engaging story because they wouldn't have put that fast forward button option in there. You know what I mean? Like and honestly, you should just have a skip button at that point. You know what I mean? Like most games do. That's not, but like the fact that there's just a fast forward button so you can skip through it so you can get to the fun part of the game. I'm just not a fan of it. That's just kind of all it is. And it's like, yeah, I understand having to engage with it, but if I have to engage with it, but it's not great. So now you let me fast forward through it. It's like, kind of what are we doing here? Kind of what's the point of even having it there? Kind of give me
Right.
kind of just embrace what you are is almost what I'm saying. Like, okay, we got the bears that hate you. You could have done that intro any way you wanted to do it. And then you're just kind of free. And then you know what I mean? Maybe you stumble upon different things and it's still about finding the boys. But like, does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like, kind of
I
like,
do, but that's a very hard layout for a game that
yeah,
size. You know what I mean? You ultimately have to have some path you follow to understand the
yeah.
game, and I
You
really
always will
think
need
that
the path. Yeah.
yeah, and I think that's the path that they're going where it's like, you know, we know maybe, and I'm just saying this, we know we are not good at telling a good story, but we know we have good gameplay. And ultimately, with any game, I would rather play a game with good gameplay and a bad story, but when they both are great, that's what makes a great game, right? So that's why I said it's not the game of the year by any means, but for me, it's fun enough.
No, and I'm glad you're enjoying it, Dave. Before we jump away, I kind of want to get your final thoughts after hearing both Nick and I go back and forth, but I'll end it with this. Not by any means is Crimson Desert a terrible game. For me personally, where I am as a gamer, where I'm at in my current state of life, it's just not what I'm looking for like I thought it would. Because this is totally a crisp coded game in every way I can think of. But for whatever reason it is, and like maybe talking with you boys, I kind of see why. It's just for me currently, if someone asked me, is this an immediate buy? And that's kind of where I wanted us like to leave it right here. And then Dave, hear your last little thoughts. But like it's for me, if it was like what we asked about Resident Evil, buy now, wait for a sale, or stay away from it. For me currently, it's just like wait for a sale or just if you're not fully sold on it, I'll just leave it at this. It's not a must buy for me. And I do kind of like, okay, I'm glad I bought it, kind of got to experience it, but I'm also like kind of have buyer's remorse. Like, I shouldn't have got this. But there's so many games around. But I am happy that it rang true with you. And that's what I think the beauty of video games too. It's like it's gonna sing for some people, and other people, it's gonna be like, you know what I mean? That's just the nature of this thing this hobby we all love. But I hope that it eventually gets its hooks in me. I'm not going to step away completely. I'm still going to jump in here and there. And then maybe I'm singing a different tune in 2 weeks and everyone can trash me in the comments and say I'm flip floppy. But it's just at this moment right now, after coming off Resident Evil and plans, and everyone's like, well, no, you're playing marathons like Crystal, but and I am enjoying marathon and we'll kind of touch on that next, but it's just not hitting me the way I wish it was. And Nick, so before we let Dave kind of tell us his thoughts after hearing us kind of go back and forth, we were a little more calm with each other than I thought we would be. We were kind of amped
Yeah.
up on the phone the other day, but is this a must buy for you with the time you've put in? If someone came and asked you like, hey man,
It's a tough question. A must buy is hard. Like it's definitely you have to enjoy this type of game. So I would be hesitant to recommend it to everybody like I would like Resident Evil 9. It's just like, oh, it's a great experience. But for me, it's a buy for me. I'd almost lean on to it's worth waiting for a sale. But like I said, I mean, this is a game to me where I'm going to play it for a long time. To me, it's like a single player MMO to where I don't have to do the MMO grind and I get to experience this world. And if a new game comes out, I'll put Crimson Desert down for that time and then I'll hop back in and continue on and kind of chip away at it until it's run its course. I'm definitely not going to 100% it, and I'm not in love with it to that degree, but it's fun enough for the price of admission. I put enough time into where my money was worth it as of this conversation, and I know I'm going to pick it up intermittently throughout the year as we wait on other drops. So
I mean, no, I like that. So Dave, you've been hearing us kind of go back and forth. How are you feeling about continuing your journey in Crimson Desert?
Yeah, as a amateur achievement hunter, it's definitely discouraging. I pulled up True Achievement right here just so I could read some off to you guys, but this is a completionist game. It would be probably so many hours. It doesn't a lot of times on True Achievement, it will show you after the game's been out for a while, it'll show you like Resident Evil will say like 20 hours estimated if you want to get all the achievements, right? But Crimson Desert doesn't show up yet because I don't know. I don't think anyone's gotten all the achievements yet.
I guess the estimated time was 200 hours for the platinum and then all the achievements.
Oh, yeah, it's discouraging. I mean, Nick just said it. He's going to put some time in, but he's not going to. You can't 100% this. And I put out a short. I think it was yesterday, and somebody put a great comment. It's like, well, have you even 100%ed Skyrim or The Witcher yet? Like, there's all these great games that have hit such high ratings, and they'll be they're classics now. They're forever cemented as some of the greats. So it's like. That's where it's so tough. It's like I am really curious about this game. I mean, I want to go, like I said, ride the dragon and do all that stuff. You can get the pet dog. It's like there's so many things I want to do, but then it's just that, like you said, it's also like, is there buyer's remorse because there's all these other? You think it's like these other great games I haven't finished or 100%ed. So. I don't know. I'm definitely gonna put some more time in, but mainly because it's part of our job. I don't know if we weren't doing this show. I don't know if I was just regular, your average, gamer with limited time, and I don't know if this one would have got me, but I'm definitely curious enough to get more. As far as the story goes, I want to make sure I hit the things you guys were talking about. Like, you think to like to me, Zelda is a perfect example with Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. It's like, was anyone that invested in the nitty gritty? It's like kind of basic. It's like, okay, the girl got taken by the bad guy. We got to go save the girl. that's kind of all you need. Like, and then throughout the whole story, like you're just going off on these tangents. You're going to meet all the Gorons and all these. It's like none of it matters that much. I couldn't sit there and tell you everything that happened in Breath of the Wild, but I could tell you it was a great experience just because the mechanics of the game and the base story. So it's like Crimson Desert could have taken that approach. The basic, back to Super Mario. It's like go save the girl. That's your mission. Whatever, all the details, the rest doesn't matter, but they started with such a weird. It's like, wait, what? Who is this guy? Who are like? Do I need to go kill this evil tribe, or should I just go start a life somewhere else? It you know it's they could have made it much more simple. I think that's what they should have done. If the story's not the main focus, just make it simple. Oh, your wife got kidnapped. You got to go. It's going to take you 100 hours to get her back. Like it could have been easy. I think they made it harder on themselves with the story. As far as the hype factor, that's the world we're living in. I texted you guys the other day. I was just like, it was kind of a joke, but it was also kind of true. Like High Guard, the night we hopped on High Guard was fun. I'm gonna remember that this year. Like when we look back, like, and it's like, why did that game just get destroyed? It was the snowball effect of the public. All the people commented dead game in the comments enough times, and it sure enough became a dead game. And that's what happens with this hype factor. Like you said, Nick, if you just pick this game up, if you were like 17 years old, some guy at GameStop was like, "Hey, you should try this," and you brought this game home, it would be like, this is crazy, dude. You'd be telling all your friends about it. But we live in the world with the internet. It kind of already plants this seed in your mind. When I was at work, I listened to one of the Kind of Funny Games episodes, and like all these guys, and it was a mistake. I should have just went to the game blind, but they started planting seeds in my head because the guys on Kind of Funny Games were not loving it, and so it's tough now. We're in this internet era, this world where I want to listen to some of these other shows, hear what they think, but then if I hear what they think, I'm like, is it even my own thoughts anymore, or am I going into this game like, with other people's thoughts in my head, So I don't know. I I said it earlier, like I'm 50-50. I want to play more, but like you guys said, I don't know if I'm not like telling people, you got to get this. Like Red Dead Redemption 2, some of those titles stand out where I'm like, "Oh, you got to go. You got to play this before you die." Like it's awesome. And Crimson Desert's not in that category. I think it's cool. There, everyone's fresh off Resident Evil. It's like, what's new? Here you go. There's something new. But Grand Theft Auto was supposed to come out in April. Could you imagine if GTA was right around the corner? Like, Crimson Desert would not be in. But it's because there's kind of a gap right now. We've got. I'd have to check the calendar, but I think. Oh, there's some stuff coming out the next couple months, but we've got some time to play this game, so it kind of fits. But if we didn't have time to play this, I don't know if we would, be talking about it.
That's a good point.
That's a great point to look at it. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Closes my thoughts on that.
No, and I think we'll leave it there. Like, I feel like this was a great early impression of Crimson Desert, and I think we'll all put some more time in it. We'll reconvene next week as we always do, and kind of go more into it. And I'm gonna make that commitment where I'm gonna try to put another couple hours into this to really, see if it rings a little bit more true for me, and kind of hit that mark where everyone keeps saying once you hit the 8-hour mark, something in the game clicks and it just feels great. And it's like, and like I said, I don't hate it. And hate's such a strong word for something like this. I don't dislike it enough and have so many problems with it where I won't want to keep trying, and I think that's a testament to what's there. and finding new weapons. Getting that katana was pretty sick and stuff. So there's cool stuff in there. But is there any other closing thoughts of our opening impressions of Crimson Desert before we kind of talk to the next game that we've all been playing, and kind of concerning might be, some of the talk is similar to what we've seen about High Guard, but everything that came with that. But anything else on Crimson Desert, boys?
No, I think we hit it, brother. I'm ready.
So we're gonna jump straight into Marathon, everyone, and this is like a little bit reverse. I've played the most for sure out of the 3 on here, and I've really enjoying my time with it. I was a big fan of Arc Raiders, and I'm not going to regurgitate stuff we've said in other episodes, but it's, everyone that knows at this point what Marathon is. I did jump into the new raid that released this past weekend, even though it was crazy busy. It's only weekend only, so it'll be opening again this coming weekend. You got to be at least level 25, have all the factions unlocked, that kind of stuff. Nothing too crazy. It's all relatively easy as long as you're just playing. But you got to have at least a 5K kit to go in, which is cool. I'm hoping that they give you that free kit each week. That'd be nice, so you don't have to waste too much of your good stuff every time. But it's high stakes, high rewards. I've watched some clips of people that have completed it. You kind of fight a raid boss at the end. It's all about, and how it's like structured. It's a really cool map, the raid. It's like everyone kind of starts in basically a PvE tunnel is what I call it, because you won't run into a team for a while, and it all connects to a central room. And like you're collecting these security keys to get up your security level to eventually get to a vault, and eventually everyone starts running into each other. And I think it's 6 hallways, so 6 teams, and 6 teams with their best stuff ready to get sweaty and get the best loot. So, and there's ways like you can, just kind of like buy one of the, the white rarity shotguns, and you can like kind of cheat your way up to 5K to get in there and start getting blue weapons immediately. Like as you're taking out mobs, they're all dropping blues and stuff. So it's really cool. It's really high loot. But it seems like, from what I'm understanding, only one team is getting out of there. So every time 6 teams go in, it seems like one is surviving if everyone wants to play nice, and no one plays nice in Marathon. My famous line to myself, because I really like it: there's no friends in Marathon, only carnage. This isn't Arc Raiders where we're all singing and doing Lord of the Rings references while we're fighting each other. But silent, everyone hates each other, and everyone's killing each other, and everyone wants each other's loot. That's all Marathon is. But the new raid's been a lot of fun. I'm really excited for all of us to jump into that, so that'll give us a lot more thoughts next week as a group. But boys, before we continue, I don't know if you guys got a chance to see this, but the numbers dropped on so 1.2 million copies sold. I believe you dropped a short about this, Dave. 1.2 million copies sold is great and all. I don't think it's great for Bungie, if for a developer like Bungie. You know what I mean? I feel like
no,
what they were bought for by Sony, how much this game probably cost to make. I believe correct me if I'm wrong, for some reason I want to say they're either Washington State or Washington D.C. For some reason, I'm sorry, I can't remember, but Nick, if you might want to look that up. But it's high cost of living. They have a ton of employees. I know it's a ton of money. I don't think 1.2 million copies sold is great in the grand scheme of things when it comes to Bungie. So that's where I sit with those numbers. I think they're high, and we've kind of could gauge that from the Steam charts and how many people are actively playing and everything. And I think those numbers are kind of fluctuating up and down. But
Can I play off that real quick?
yeah, absolutely.
All right. So one thing I think you sent too, 70% of those sales were on PC, correct?
From this research I saw, and I mean, if I'm wrong on that, my bad, everybody. But that's what pretty almost positive. I can double check that while you go. Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to address, I've heard so many people say, why are people so obsessed with the Steam database numbers and player count numbers and this, that, and the third? Well, one, I don't think anybody's obsessed with it. I think, well, maybe some people are, but
hey, real quick, Nick, it's 70% on PC, 19% PS5, 11% on Xbox.
All right, so that's a perfect point, right? You look at the Steam database, so 70% of those sales were on PC. Let's say probably all of those would be through Steam, right? these numbers are the lifeblood of a game like this. People have been comparing these like one-off indie games and like saying, well, they have a 5K player base and they do just fine. Well, we're not talking about an indie developer. We're talking about Bungie. The game's backed by Sony, and if it doesn't have a huge player count invested in it, buying cosmetics, buying season passes, it they're going to end up, look at what happened to Highguard. When people stopped playing the game, the developers stopped investing in the game, the support from Sony will come back from Bungie and the game could go away. And for people that enjoy the game like you, that is important because you want the game to be successful. Now, at the very least, let's say, or at the very worst, apart from, let's say, Bungie loses the funding and the game goes under, you get a very small player count, right? A dedicated fan base. Then what happens to your extra content? Are they going to invest putting badass raids into a game that 5 to 10,000 people play? Maybe, but would it be to the same level and the same time and the same design that they would do if it's a game that 100,000 people are playing every weekend? No. I mean, it's just the fact of the matter that it's backed by Sony, who's got their hands in so many other things. They're going to dedicate their time, their resources, their money to games that are making more money, and it sets the stage to where down the line, could there be a marathon too? If the player numbers aren't the best, why would they do that? You know what I mean? So I think a big part of it too, and I might be wrong, but I enjoyed playing solo, right? I think an issue they've run into is the archives, definitely from what you've talked about and from what I've watched about it. I haven't played it yet, but it's not designed for a solo player, and that's fine. Some content shouldn't be. You should have a team. But then when you introduce ranked, so the two kind of extra content things over the weekend, both aren't designed for solo characters. You can go ranked solo, but you will go against squads if squads queue up. You don't have a solo queue. So then you can go solo and you'll lose your stuff to get in 2v1. So then it's kind of now you've segregated the solo community that maybe doesn't have a dedicated player base or a group of friends to play the game with or to do the raid with. And so then they're kind of being like, well, what am I going to do? Just keep hitting perimeter, dire marsh, and outpost and be kind of gridlocked out of the best gear in the game. And then these guys are going to hit archive and they're going to come back. And then if they want to run solo, since they had a team, now they have golden shields and I'm doing a gray free loadout trying to get my shit back together. You know what I mean? So it's like you should introduce content for teams 100%, but you should at least pave the way for this game does have a lot of solo players. And you should at least pave the way for some way or another for them to at least get adequate loot to, it doesn't have to be this level, but maybe you could do Cairo Archive and it's on the solo one, there's no raid boss. A couple different mechanics change, but still the same map. Maybe you can't get golden guns, but you can get, I think, are there purples?
Yes.
Yeah, so you can get let's say you can get purples. You can't get the best thing. You got to put together a team.
Sorry, yeah. I don't know. Actually.
Well, let's say you could just get the tier under to at least have your footing under you. Maybe not. Maybe you gridlock it behind the very best stuff, but you're kind of. It's just. I don't think that that's helping its scenario with already a dwindling player base. I mean, you got to make it more accessible to everybody. And the things that they're doing and introducing, like Cairo Archive, is we didn't even play it this weekend, Dave and I, because I'm not level 25. Right?
Yeah, you're goofing off too much.
Yeah, but it's like I could have a 5K loadout. Why do I need to be level 25? You know what I mean? It's like gridlocking maybe not players that And I've seen players on there that are like level 160 now with like 1.5 mil credits and all the best gold stuff. And it's like, you got no lifers that are able to get into these things and grind this game out, but you're kind of gridlocking the average gamer out of the experience if they're not going to dedicate time into your game.
But no, I agree with you on that. But I also think that you kind of cut that from the same Destiny cloth or World of Warcraft cloth. It's until they brought Raid Finder in. You know what I mean? It's like that's the what's the word I'm looking for? Pinnacle. That's the pinnacle stuff that you do in those games. That you have to earn the right to be able to do that and be good enough to do it to get the best stuff as a flex, right? That's kind of like the Destiny. Like not everyone did Vault of Glass when it came out, right? Because there is solo, and like I was mostly a solo Destiny player till you hopped in, and Dave, we weren't really gaming then. When I was playing, you were playing, so it's like
yeah, but
you don't
those
have
are
a
MMOs. This is an extraction shooter. I mean, look at Arc Raiders and
well. That's what I was.
Tarkov.
I was
know
gonna
what I
get
mean?
there, but you decided to attack me.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm totally kidding. And that's what I was gonna say. That would work if they also provided, like you stated, something for the solo players. Like I was telling you the other day, like almost like a campaign-esque or PvP, PvE area stuff, kind of like I said, mirror Destiny in a way. And I would love that. Like it is fun to fight the bots, like you know what I mean. But you're so scared to fight them because there's rats right around the corner about to take your goop from you because you're too focused in. Like we did a boss battle against the Toxic Warden, and like the crew I was with, we took him down. And like right when we're celebrating our victory, gunshots out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like that's the nature of these extraction shooters. Same thing as Arc Raiders. You're fighting the matriarch, and then people come and steal your. It's just, it's the nature of those games. But to your point, yeah, I think it does. It does gatekeep a little bit. It keeps people from playing. And like you said, the no lifers, the streamers, are in these same queues of this top tier content, and they're coordinated. They're nasty. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, they're enjoying it, but to your point, like, yeah, you can only play a game and die so many times before you finally like, okay, I'm gonna just play something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or I think at least give them a ticket to entry. You know what I mean? Like a solo player, a ticket to entry. Instead of 6 hallways, add 12 and let it be solos. And it's a whole different
12
map.
solo players, yeah. And like,
You know what I
I
mean?
also feel like even in all the maps, they should gauge how make it a little bit easier with the AI too, like the bots and everything. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just because as a solo player, you like fight a a commander or a boss is the same as fighting it with a squad. You just have a lot less ammo and a lot less help. But no, and I agree with you. I think there's a lot of things they can fix. And yeah, even though I do enjoy Marathon a lot, I do think so. Let's hit this real quick, because I want to hear from Dave as well about this. But 1.2 million sold, right? Bungie was acquired by Sony for 3.6 billion.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Do you feel? And I want to hear from both of you, especially because we're all Bungie guys, and like we said it last week, we've cut our teeth on these games. We love what Bungie was, and we're hoping they get to that point again. But do you think if we're having another high guard moment here, and I don't want to be doom and gloom with all this, but 1.2 million sold, they acquired him for 3.6 billion. Do you think they give him another chance, or do you think this might be the end? Not to be too drastic, but we've seen it throughout the industry. We just talked about Blue Point not too long ago, but do you think they just kind of Bungie goes away and they just take Talon and spread it throughout the rest of their live service initiatives? And the real question I want to ask you both, are we still playing and talking about Marathon in 3 months like we kind of been talking about other games like Mio? Like, again, me and Dave had the honeymoon phase of Mio, but I haven't thought about Mio that much at all the rest of this year. And it was January. It was just a couple months ago. But so it's like a two-part question I want to send to you guys. Do you think that there's a way that Marathon survives and continues? Because like they said, the active players have stayed around that 39 to 45,000 mark, and it kind of sticks around that. It did do a bit of a jump for them for raid weekend, but yeah. So I'll pose that to you, Dave, because I haven't heard from you in a little bit. But do you think that 1.2 millions enough to not only sustain Marathon, keep us talking about it, keep us playing for, let's just say, for the next 3 months? And do you think it's enough for Bungie to continue to exist and then to continue to bring us some other games like Destiny 3 or drop my mic, everybody. Destiny 3 or any other games that might be in their in their chamber right now?
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some repercussions from this launch. Unfortunately, I mean, I just saw Epic Games, the powerhouse, Fortnite, the one game to rule them all. They just had a huge layoff, huge cuts over with their developers, just because the game Fortnite's not, it it's had this, you know historical run, but even that game's slipping, and you see what happens. They're not bringing in enough money, and a bunch of people just lost their jobs, and we've seen it all over the industry right now in gaming. And unfortunately, I think we'll see something go on here with Bungie. Like, it's unfortunately, it's all about the money. In everything in the world, not just gaming, but every industry. It's, are the shareholders, are the profits going up? And you see, they, like, what did you say they acquired Bungie for? How much money?
3.6 billion.
Yeah, that's
It's a pretty penny, right?
they're gonna be pissed. There's gonna be some people that that are not happy about this game. I don't know, unless it's like a long-term strategy, like you said. Maybe there's more things in the pipeline. I don't know. I don't know the ins and outs of it. Yeah, to speak intelligently on it, but maybe like Destiny 3, other things are in the works. But if this was, it seems weird. Like, you acquire this studio for all that money, and then it's like, all right, here's a big, Marathon. This is our big thing, and I don't know. It's I think it will be a very, like you said, there's those teams, there's those guys that are out there that they got the same three they've been working with, and they're gonna grind and get the goal. There is a phase of life where that would be us. If we had a little more free time right now, I think we would be those three guys just going in, getting everything. And we've tried a little bit, but just being as busy. Like, I'm pissed we didn't get to do the raid, but it was just like life happens, and we didn't get to level 25 in time, and so we didn't get to be a part of it. I'm not upset with the gatekeeping, or people call it gatekeeping, because it's like, I understand. I have I have twins. We're busy. Like, it's 25. It doesn't take that long to get to level 25. So I'm not like upset. This game wasn't made for me. So I'm just like, well, it's just one of those things. Like, oh, that sucks, we didn't have enough time to do it. But I'm not like, it's not like it was level 50 or level 100 where it's just like, are you kidding me? Like, it's a reasonable, requirement. You got to understand the game before you go into this kind of advanced mode. But what else do I have to say on it? That might be it. Unless you guys spark anything else, I'm kind of losing train of thought. I want to play more Marathon, though. I wish we got to do the raid with you. It sounds pretty cool. But yeah, it's one of those things with you see the numbers and stuff. It was, not even close. I don't want to compare it to High Guard, but that's the fresh thing on everyone's mind, where it was like, it's like, man, if people loved High Guard, or like if we knew High Guard was going to stick around, we might be tempted to put a little more time in. Yeah, but and now with Marathon, it's kind of that's how the world is now. It's like, well, is this game? Are they going to drop another raid 3 months from now? like, is it worth putting your time into? I mean, if you're having fun, you're having fun. You know, you waste time. We all waste time, like we're just watching shows that we enjoy, like whatever. Like if you enjoy the game, play the game. Like don't be thinking long term. But I don't know. That's I know you guys when we played. I was at first. I wasn't loving it, and then it eventually started kind of growing on me. I don't know if it was because of if the game is good or if it's because I was playing with a couple buddies, and it's fun that any game where you're playing, essentially 3-player co-op. I know it's multiplayer, but I see it as like we're doing these missions together. You know, it's the co-op elements. That's what makes it fun. And um, but like you said, with the solo gamers, this isn't designed for busy dads. You know, you have that nap time window, and it's like, do you have time to text the guys and coordinate? Like, let's go do a couple things, or do you want to hop on by yourself? You know, like you said, Nick, you could hop on solo. You might have 1 hour to play. You could do a couple drops by yourself. But then it's like, where does that go long term if you can't do any raids by yourself? But I mean, that's part of it. Going back to Halo, there was but then again, it's like you could play Halo by yourself for a couple hours, but then there's also things you wanted to do with a squad. So I don't know. It's
No, I think you hit a bunch of great points, Dave, and a lot of things I didn't even think about. So it's something definitely keep our eyes on, right? That's what we're going to continue to do. I think I got to get you guys up to stuff, so at least we can hit that raid together to really get our final, like we have our complete thoughts on the game. Because playing the raids of randos is not the same as playing with the boys. And you're right, it does add that extra couple points for all of us. We have fun together. We yell at each other. It's like, revive me. And
Yeah.
Nick pulling that clutch play where the guys kill us all, but they forgot Nick didn't die and he self-revives, takes out the team, brings us all back. It's you get those high moments that
definitely.
that I feel like, and I still stand by this, I feel like the high highs in that game beat the low lows. Like, yeah, you lose some gear, but then you're like, next run you get like better gear than you had that you lost, and then the cycle continues. And
There's nothing better than wiping. There's nothing like, but that's the thing. A lot of games have that. That's it. That feeling of wiping a team. You know, whether it's an extraction shooter or a battle royale or anything. Like that's why I'm so. It's tough. This is a tough episode. Like Crimson Desert and Marathon. It's just like I don't know how to feel like. It's fun to wipe a team, but it's also fun to wipe a team in a lot of things. So it's fun to explore Crimson Desert, but it's also fun to explore a lot of other games too. So it's like
don't you think it's fun too though when like you go to loot and me and Nick don't let you read anything and we steal all the shit before you can get anything?
Yeah. That's what the listeners need to know. I've only got a couple hours into Marathon. I'm like, okay, we wipe a team. I think I killed 2 out of the 3 guys. So I'm feeling good, and I'm like, it takes me 10 minutes to loot a backpack because I'm trying to figure out what the items are, and then they all start disappearing. What?
I know I was basically cannon fodder that one match, and I got all the best stuff because he was like, "Let me just check this backpack while you did."
But that's I don't consider myself like a angry or frustrated gamer. Like some people wouldn't speak the rest of the night. It's like you take their gun, but I don't care. It's like whatever. I'm still having fun. I don't care if someone takes the blue gun or whatever. But
that was the same way when Nick took my blue shield and kept lying to us that he found it on someone else. I was like, you're lying. Just tell me the truth.
I did find it on someone else, but you made a great point. It was the guy that killed you and took it.
He's trying to gaslight me. He's like, no, it was on someone else. I was like, I know who it was on. The guy that stabbed me in the back. And that, and that's
so it was his shield at that point.
Yeah, that's the nature of those games. And like we've talked about, once you've accepted that, no matter what extraction shooter you're playing, it makes it so much better. But again, and like to your point, Dave, these moments right now where we're laughing and having fun, we had it when we played Battlefield together. We had it when we played High Guard together. We would have it if we were all playing Diablo together, right? Like it's just you're
Yeah.
right. Any of those games will elicit that emotion from us, but
It's like where do you want to have those emotions? What world is it?
Is it Marathon? Is it like you said? Is it Halo? Is it what I mean? Like, and I agree. But right now, that's a great point to bring up. That's maybe why I'm so high on it because I have that moment now in the in Marathon and Tau Ceti and when we do the raid together, what happens if we win it, right? What if we're the last group standing? We take out the boss, we extract with gold stuff, reds, you know what I mean? Like there's like unique so that you can get like a unique trace rifle, like you know what I mean? And then you're the one that gets to kill Dave and Nick snatches it out of the backpack and sprints to the extract before we can catch him, But
yeah, he'll say his mic disconnected.
No, he just logs off, gets off Discord, like quits the podcast. He's like, I just did all this to get that trace rifle.
Just ratted out.
But I want to I think we've hit a lot of good points with Marathon as well. And like you said, this was a difficult episode. It's a very much like some of Nick's really high on Crimson Desert. You and I are both still kind of on the fence. I'm really high on Marathon. You both are still kind of on the fence. It's again like gaming is just, and then I think we're gonna hit this again when Soros and Pragmata, Lord of Hatred, all these things that we're looking forward to comes out, and like it'll be crazy to think if I'm the one that loves Pragmata and you guys not despise it, but like aren't hot on it, and you guys are more amped about it than I am. And I think that's the beauty and the pain of being a gamer, right? And it's not a cheap hobby. Let's be real. It's not a cheap hobby. So you got to be smart. Like you try to be as smart as you can to where you're going to sling $40 if you're lucky, but mostly $80 for everything else coming out. So, but there's one last thing before we can close the loop on Marathon. I want to ask you boys, and just a quick yes or no from you. Are we still playing Marathon in 3 months? And 2-part for the yes and no. And do you think that are we still playing it? And is it still around in 3 months? Nick.
I think it will still be around in 3 months. I think maybe. I don't know. I think they're going to do everything they can to inject player numbers into it. And Bungie's no fool to making good content. So I think if they really step back and say, okay, we got to get more people in here, or Sony puts the hammer down on them, like, look, we got to fix something or do something. I think it has the potential to do that. As it stands right now, if the game is what it is now, I would play if we all hopped on intermittently, but by myself, I will not be playing. I'll probably will have it uninstalled in 3 months unless we regularly hop in every now and again for, as a squad. And I think all it would take is another game more polished that we all enjoy. That's a 3-person squad that we would pick that up, and kind of Marathon would take the back seat, because I think ultimately with these looter shooters, for me, or extraction shooters, it happened with Arc Raiders. It just kind of gets stale. You've kind of been there, done that. You've played the maps. It's fun. You've gotten the gear. You've lost the gear. And so then you kind of go like, all right, well, what's left in the game? Am I going to grind out to get a cosmetic shell and still play the same maps? I mean, they're going to have to constantly pump new maps, new content, new enemies, new gear in it to keep it fresh. And if they do that, then I think we'll still be playing. But if they don't, then yeah, I think I'll fall off.
Dave?
Will it be around? Yes. Will we be playing? I think that could be a yes. Well, obviously all these other single player games sporadically will pull us, but for like what we play as a squad, um, what else is coming in terms of like now there's possibility, Battlefield could try to push a bigger comeback. We know there's talks of the ship to shore, coming. Maybe they'll do some more stuff with the battle royale. I could see us hopping back in and out of the Battlefield. It's still a great game, but yeah, it's a weird time. I feel like we don't have something that's a set. I mean, Marathon is that right now for the three of us to hop on and play. So 3 months from now, what else is going to take that spot? We'll be playing Crimson Desert. There's other Pragmata. All these things will pull us in the single player direction. So I guess that's the question: if we are we gonna just spend these next few months just like playing all these single player games? That's a possibility, but it's fun to have something to play with friends. So what, Overwatch pulled us in a little bit. I don't know. If yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. That's June. Are we going to be playing Marathon in June? We'll see. Sorry, that's a long-winded.
No, it's a difficult question because there's, and I want you guys. This is how I'm going to approach it. What I hope. I hope we are still playing because, to Nick's point, they're doing all the things that are required of a live service game to keep it interesting and stuff. And I hope we're all still playing together, and I hope it's still around. As things stand now, as we see it now, as we see the numbers, I feel like, unfortunately, realistically, it's a no. Unfortunately, what I see is what we've seen over and over again, and I don't want it to be true, but even you, Dave, and thank you for giving me that info because I was not aware of the Fortnite stuff. I think we're going to see the dreaded email of marathons coming down and there's layoffs at Bungie. I don't want to see these things happen, and I hope, and like the optimistic part of me is that it's a yes. We're still playing, even with all these great single player games that are pulling us left and right. That we're still making time, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, to the boys to hop in, do a couple runs, prep for a raid, do the raid whenever we can, and still having fun and doing different maps. But
yeah,
so to put it on a bow for me, hope yes. Realistically, no, unfortunately, is what I'm feeling right now, and I hope that changes in the future. But boys, we hit Crimson Desert, we've hit Marathon, but there's one other thing I want to touch on, before we wrap up the show. And it's we're doing a little bit of a long episode, as we always do long episodes, what I'm talking about, but we haven't talked in 2 weeks fully like this, so kind of want to get your thoughts. Another big thing that's been going all over the industry is this new, I think, DLSS 5 doing these side by sides, and people basically, using AI to adjust pictures to make them look better, is better, quote unquote. Some people don't feel that way. Nick's pulling it up for us now. I don't know if there's a way to make your screen a little bit bigger, Nick. It's kind of hard to see. But either way, it's as Nick works on that. I don't know if you guys have seen these things, these side by sides, how people are feeling about them. Me seeing them personally, I don't think it's very necessary, but it's and again, I'm not looking at the layman's perspective of it, as Nick's doing the drive by. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's necessary, is how I see it. Like, I don't think that Grace needs to look, as you're seeing, with all the extra, like, it looks like makeup and stuff like that. I mean, I feel like it kind of goes against what the game is. You kind of get a little, I like this little drag. I think it's kind of cool though. But it adds like some lighting, kind of cleans up pictures, might change some art. Like, but I just want to approach it from this, guys. Like some companies say they will not use generative AI. Others studios are experimenting. I know that Bethesda is like on the record for talking about how excited they are about this, about adding DLSS5 and all these things like that. Do you guys let's just do it like this. Let's do a core question and then we can go into it from there. Do you want to see AI in your games? And a second question, if a game looks amazing, do you care if AI helped make it? And
I'll go ahead and start.
Yeah.
AI in the game. I don't want to see AI if it's used to just like create a world and then the world's bland or clunky or not very interactive due to the AI. With this, I mean, I don't see an issue with it. It's look, what it basically is, it's just the next generation of graphics. It's not, I wouldn't say like it's truly AI art because look, they created Grace and this character. This is just making her or Leon or whoever these little sliders, it was just making them very realistic. So, I mean, it's almost like the thing I chalk it up to is like I love good movies, right? In Star Wars, the blasters aren't real. It's it's CGI. It's fake, but it is cool and it looks cool and you know what I mean? So it's like if the game looks great, I don't care if AI was a part of the process of it as long as it doesn't devolve what the game is or in this graphic standpoint, I'll say I don't see an issue in the graphics standpoint of AI. There's other parts where I think it would be, for lack of a better term, bullshit to have AI in your game. But if you're using it to simply, for lack of a better comparison, turn a 1080 picture into a 4K picture, then sure. You know what I mean? If you're just upping the definition and that's all the AI is doing, then go ahead, and it's probably something that you could cut off in your settings if you don't like it.
Yeah, I guess what I'm scared of is, and I agree with you. Like when I look at those, and I actually waited to sit with you guys. I kind of just basing off what I've heard from others. I didn't see it was like too egregious. It just scares me because it's like I think AI is a great tool in many ways. It helps like organize you, things like that. We utilize it. I mean, we were very busy guys, and it helps us put our thoughts together while we're preparing for these shows and help us like look up news stories and kind of pick those things apart. I don't think that's against what I mean, like it's a Google, it's a search engine, it's a really good search engine is how I look at it. What scares me is like I don't want it to replace like the art of the video game, you know what I mean? Like I don't mind like some assets and things like that, but I just don't want a fully AI generated video game because then I think, it takes away people from those things. I think that's the scare of all AI throughout the industry. I mean, not just the industry, throughout the world, right? We, taking away different jobs and positions. Go ahead.
I'm gonna put you in a position.
Okay.
If AI could have created the Crimson Desert you envisioned, would you play it and enjoy it?
And that's the thing I would. And that's what I'm
You
saying.
know what
Like
I mean?
that's my fear is like
Right.
when we get to that point and it's just like we're just
If I could ask the AI to make a game that I've always wanted to play, AI, make me
it's
Fallout
perfect
5 and make it beautiful.
Probably do it faster than Bethesda will ever do it. But
please don't make me wait 15 years.
But no, and I agree with you. It's just I don't know. I guess it's this the age-old question we've been asking ourselves now is like, is it okay? Is it like are we past the point of being okay? And it's just the reality in which we live in. And no, and it's never going to replace human creativity, how people look at things. And I think the imperfections are what make things great, right? Like you feel the people that made Crimson Desert in there, right? And it's like if everything's just absolutely perfect and tailored wonderfully, like is it I don't know, do we lose like the interest and then the love of it, right? You know, I don't
Yeah,
know. I think it's like maybe I'm not smart enough to have this this conversation in a way because it is very like, and I am what's the word I'm using? I'm being very contradictive because I'm like, yeah, I don't really agree with it, but then you just told me if this was if this made the thing you absolutely wanted, would you play it? And I think I would find it hard pressed if Dave, if I was like, hey man, guess what? Tomorrow we get Destiny 3. It was completely made by AI and it's everything we wanted from Destiny 1 and 2, and it's perfect, and we can all play it tomorrow. And are you in? And I don't see any of us saying no, and I won't speak for you, Dave. But I mean, I just feel it'd be hard for us to be like, nah, guys, I'm good. I heard that. I heard that it's AI, and that's the moral thing where like everyone, none of the Bungie guys that I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of talking in circles a little bit. But I
no,
was just curious.
you're right.
Like,
You're 100% right because that is what it is. It's like it's hard to you lose the human creativity. You know that you lose the little flaws in a game that make it a game. You're right that like it, and ultimately with AI, and I could be just ignorant and wrong, but I'm almost positive that all it can do is work off of other things. It
That
goes
already
off of the
exists.
knowledge of what's already there. So then you would ultimately, I think, I don't think it would get to the stage where it could just create a brand new game, you know, like a Destiny 3. What it would do is merge what Destiny 1 or 2 are and try to create something like that. And I think you would end up losing like brand new experiences. And I think it would completely take out indie developers. I think mainline developers would turn into patch workers. They would work on patches for whatever the AI messed up. And ultimately, I think, yeah, you'd lose kind of the heart of the game. The people's doing the patches wouldn't care because they didn't invest any of their ideas or times into the game. The AI doesn't care about the game. So I think it would go down a bad path to where the games would not, I don't know. It also turned into an extremely oversaturated market of games if it was that proficient.
that's where I like
Yeah.
people are saying it's going to help them churn more games out. And I'm like, I don't think we need that. I think
No.
we need quality over quantity at this point. Like, just like you could, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, because Dave has his game calendar there, and it's you look at it, it's like I would prefer. We still get a lot of games every year, but like just high quality ones. I don't need thousands of like I
Right.
don't know, just garbage. You know what I mean? Like, and I got to churn through it to find the one or two good ones. So I don't think that's if that. I mean, again, we're not in those studios, and we understand that the almighty dollar will always win, and it's like get the most stuff out there to get the most eyes on your product to get the most money, and everyone's, you know what I mean? But I it's hard for me to buy into that, and again, it's always scary to like. The more you see it throughout tech and throughout these things, like people are training AI to then take their job, right? It's like, I don't know. It's a very
Then
hard thing because it's like we get so frustrated and we can turn into a Bethesda talk and then we got another hour out of this thing. But we get so frustrated with Bethesda because we wait so damn long to get the stuff we want. And then they ask you and they ask the three of us, they're like, hey guys, we can get you Elder Scrolls 6 by the end of the year, but we have to add a lot of AI in it, and AI is going to help us build a lot of this game. If we don't, you got to wait till 2030.
yeah.
That's the monkey's paw,
It's
though,
just
right? It's the
it's
monkey's paw. Like you
weird.
agree to it, then
Yeah.
something bad's gonna happen after. So
And also if every game's polished, let's just say the AI starts making the games and the games are all fantastic, no flaws, right? So making these polished games. Does gaming itself start to lose the luster of like a Resident Evil 9? Like when you pick it up and it's like, great day. Like, I've played some good games, but this is a great game. Like if all games are just that good, it's like,
yeah,
yes,
I
that
get what you're
sounds
saying.
great on paper, but then it's like you lose those experiences where those memories really hit home with that game, and those, fond memories of playing it, and how fun it was. And,
On
all
the
games are like
discourse
that.
of games we like and we don't like, I mean, if everything's just
Yeah.
perfect and tailored to everyone's love, I don't know, that'd be kind of a weird, scary universe to think about.
Yeah.
I here's my thoughts. Not too long ago, and I probably still hear a little bit. They're going around, but everyone was sharing all the AI song, like AI covers of famous songs, or just like totally like originals, and it's kind of a cool little gimmick. And I specifically remember my wife and I like showing us like or showing each other like a couple, and it's like wow, this is cool. But we have a thing we do on the weekends. We it's like don't no TV and phones. We'll cook some breakfast on the Blackstone and we'll play some music. Um, and I'll tell you this, boys, we've never turned on like AI music. Yeah, as cool as some of those songs are, and some of those like unique covers, specifically all the 50 Cent ones were going around. I've never woke up on
The
a Saturday
18 in
morning.
Life one, the soul. Have you guys heard that soul cover of 18 in Life by Skid Row? Sorry.
Mm-mm.
Got
I
me.
haven't
That's the
heard
only
that.
one I really liked. I liked a lot. But anyway, sorry.
But yeah, exactly to your point. Like they're cool. It's kind of fun to send to a friend. But I've never woke up on a Saturday morning and been like, I'm going to turn on that AI song. You know,
That's a
I
really good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always wake up and it's like, what do I want to hear? It's real people with real, whatever we want to listen to that morning. But now with games, it's different though, because it's the art. It's a different kind of art. Like if I say I turn on like a Zach Bryan or Post Malone, or it's like it's that guy, it's that voice, But with a game, it's like you're not seeing the developer. So that's where it's interesting. Like if we do get to a world where it's we see these futuristic movies where you plug in and it knows exactly what game does Chris want to play, and then it generates it. And it's like, I don't know, maybe it would be so cool. It's but do you go back, I watched some of those old Halo videos. You see these guys, they were passionate nerds. They're sitting up there laughing like, "Oh, we thought people would like it if you could hijack a ghost, kick the elite out of the goat." Like they love it, was just fun for them. They're like, "I think this would be fun, so let's do it." And I don't know if AI like I know it's still everything's so early, and it's like right now it's compared, it's like if you're hopping on ChatGPT, it's like you're one of the first people to ever make a Facebook account, like thinking of it that way, like it's just the beginning. Who knows? But I don't see AI right now being able to be like, you know what? I think people would really love to hijack a ghost, or I think people would really love to grab this energy sword. Like it takes a human to kind of think like these guys are all sitting around in a room like, oh, this would be fun. I'd love to melee my buddy in the back in the campaign and reset the checkpoint. Like is AI how I could see AI making these beautiful visual worlds. And I mean, Crimson Desert, you could almost kind of look at that as like, did AI make that? Because it is like, oh, what do people they want Assassin's Creed and Zelda and all these things put into one, and it just kind of like churned out, there's not much soul put into something like that. So I don't
That's a
know.
great word you just ended with right there. The soul. Like, are we going to miss the soul of what these are, these things we love? If, like
Mhm.
Nick stated and you just stated, it's just all these curated machine experiences where we don't have the three guys like the three of us. If we decided to come up with something, like it takes a bunch of like laughing and joking around and being like, oh, that would be sick. And to Nick's
Mhm.
point, it's like it's just pulling from old ideas. So it's like that the human, the thing that it's, I don't know, it's the soul, the loss of the soul is what, or like the deep philosophical questions we're gonna ask around 10 p.m. tonight with each other if that's what's gonna fall. But I think there's always going to be a fear there. I think we're at the point where the the Jack is out of the box when it comes to AI. So it's kind of, we got to see where it plays. I think I have no issue with it being utilized, like you guys said, to help clean up stuff or finish assets and any, along those lines. But I don't want it to see it generating full stories and stuff like that. That's kind of where I don't want to.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't go. But again, like Pandora's box has been open. We got to see what happens now that it's been open, and we're seeing it in real time. It keeps getting faster and faster every year. Like the AI videos are starting to, everyone's obsessed with making like these weird AI fruit videos where they're all having these crazy experiences. But I think once that phase ends, they'll go back to making realistic stuff. But I know every time I go on Instagram, it's like a piece of broccoli fighting with a banana about, I don't know, all different kinds of life situations. So I'm like, okay. But anyways. Well, boys, I think this has been an excellent episode. We touched a bunch on the Crimson Desert Marathon. We're going to hit it more next week, and I'll have some more stuff to talk about with Dragonkin as well, as I'm going to jump into that. But, we really appreciate everyone that's hopped in the comments. We try to get to everyone in both our clips and our long forms and in our shorts as well, guys. We appreciate y'all jumping in. We were going to have back and forth. We're going to have a little fun. And that's what it's all about. We really appreciate everyone watching, everyone enjoying. A couple questions we want to leave with you guys, and it's which game are you more confident in right now, Marathon or Crimson Desert? I know what Nick's gonna say. And last, a little extra, and where do you guys all stand with AI in games, and where it's okay and where it's not? Next episode, like I said, we're going to keep jumping into Crimson Desert. We'll pull a little bit more time, all of us, into it. All of us will attempt, if I can get these boys up to snuff, to jump in the Kyra archive this weekend, kind of experience the raid as a squad, lose everything we've ever earned, and never play the game again. But we'll see how that ends up playing, and I'll give you guys a little bit on Dragonkin as we get closer to it. But Nick, Dave, appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining me. We're glad to be back. We'll see everybody next week. But everyone, always remember, keep grinding, keep gaming, and we appreciate everyone. Good night, everybody.
Night.